probably countless times where I have wondered if all of this was worth it, if any of this was ever going to work. And for me, it just all comes back to that conviction that I had in the first place, that this is what I feel like I was put on the planet to do. I feel like this is how business should be run all along. It should meet the needs of all of its people. It should meet the needs of its customer. It should meet the needs of the entrepreneur. It should meet the needs of its employees. And so what else would I do? I was 17 when I started Badala, and I heard about people who were dying because they were hungry, and that didn't make sense to me. So I did the only thing that 17-year-old me could think to do, and I started doing bake sales at my high school. At the time, I didn't know what I was really raising money for. If it was going to be used for education, I didn't know if it was going to be used for clean water, but then I actually had the chance to travel to East Africa. And I met women who were carrying water miles and miles for a couple of cents a day for their neighbors, or women who were prostituting to feed their children. And none of them were looking for handouts, they were looking for opportunities. The same issues that we face here are magnified in Kenya. The very same reasons there's a wage gap here are the very same reasons that women are prostituting in Kenya. They are expected to fit into a certain role, or because a lot of them have brothers ahead of them or sisters ahead of them in the birth order, and by the time, it's time to send the 6th kid out of 10 to school, there's not enough money left to send them to school. A lot of the women that I was speaking to had some sort of trauma in their past. A lot of them were orphaned when they were very young and weren't able to finish their education. They had lost spouses or things like that, and so prostitution was a job that was available. They were doing that clearly because there were no alternatives. And Badala actually means instead. So instead of prostitution, instead of abuse, instead of whatever small, low-paying jobs they would find, we would create an alternative. Initially, the thought behind making products was that it would allow these women to have a job. It would allow them to have income because we would pay them to make the bracelet, and then we would use the funds to fund other worthy causes in the country. But then what we realized is that the work in itself is a worthy cause. To do business with a mission is a cause of itself. We do a lot with African olive wood, charcuterie boards. We've done utensil sets, and all of those products are carved by hand. I started Badala in Kenya because poverty looks very differently in Kenya than it does here. We have a lot of NGOs that are there to help people when they fall on hard times. Our economy is very different than it is in East Africa and elsewhere throughout the world. So that's why I started in Kenya. Why I decided to do something here is that very similarly to when my heart was broken by extreme poverty, my heart was wrecked by hearing stories of women here being trafficked. So I think a lot of people think trafficking is like being thrown in the back of a van and being chained to a wall, and certainly that happens, but it's more rare. And what's far more common is that a young girl is approached by someone who's a trafficker, first as a boyfriend. And once he gains trust in that relationship, he begins exploiting her. And so that's why for trafficking victims to leave is much more complicated, because it's leaving a boyfriend. It's leaving someone who made you feel valued and who made you feel beautiful and worthy of affection, even at the same time if he's being abusive. We teamed up with Naomi's House, which is a residential program serving trafficking survivors. They provide a safe place for these women to escape from their traffickers while they receive therapy and recover a bit. We were able to partner with them in providing some transitional employment. A lot of these women had their identification, their social security cards taken by their traffickers, and so Badala is able to provide some work while they recover those items. What that turned into was a line of bath and beauty products, which we call Badala Bath Co. Badala bath soap products are made with natural ingredients, ethically sourced whenever we can verify that, mostly vegan. We do use honey. I never thought about whether Badala was a feminist organization or not. I mean, to me, feminism is just if women are people and they have equal value and they have important things to bring. And so, I mean, of course, like, yeah, I have a kid. His name is Clive. He is really cute. And I wasn't sure that I wanted to have kids when I started having kids. And I was concerned about what that would look like running a business. Being an entrepreneur, you work so many hours. I mean, you have to be very intentional about when is work time and when is time to take a break. And a lot of things depend on you. But I'm glad to say that the year after he was born, we tripled our sales. And now the year after that, we have already doubled what we did last year. And so I don't know if it's that he's the one that motivated me to do that, but certainly has not held our company back, and really, really thankful for that because I feel like I get to have it all. My name is Joelle McNamara, and I'm the founder of Badala.